Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about child abuse and neglect. My name is Odalis Martinez. So, a little background on child abuse and neglect is in the early 1870s, child abuse captured the nation's attention with news that an 8-year-old orphan named Mary Ellen Wilson was suffering daily whippings and beatings at her foster home. Child abuse occurs when a parent or caretaker physically, emotionally, or sexually abuses, neglects, or abandons a child. Laws regarding child abuse seek to protect children, but at the same time, it allows parents the right to raise and discipline their children as they see fit. Child abuse is more common than many people care to believe. In the United States, each year, more than 3.6 million reports of child abuse are made, which involve almost 6 million children. A little more history about it is that for many centuries, laws failed to protect children from abuse. Children under common law were considered the property of their fathers, as women were considered property of their husbands. Each day, 4 or 5 children are killed by child abuse or neglect. Children whose parents abuse alcohol and drugs are 3 times more likely to be abused and 4 times more likely to be neglected than other children. Some issues that might be faced because of abuse and neglect is many abusive adults convince children to be silent or lie about the abuse. Some signs that come along with that are bruises, difficulty connecting with others, avoiding a specific person or place, difficulty walking or sitting, feelings of shame or guilt. So the question is, how big is the problem? Every child has experienced abuse or neglect, which will have their own response to the trauma that child will be going through. Some have long-lasting effects, others are able to recover quicker and with ease. There is not a right or wrong way for a child to manage effects of the abuse and neglect they have suffered. Child abuse and neglect are common. At least 1 in 7 children have experienced child abuse and or neglect in the past year, and this is likely an underestimate. Children living in poverty experience more abuse and neglect. Rates of child abuse and neglect are 5 times higher for children in families with low socioeconomic status compared to children in families with higher socioeconomic status. Children maltreatment is costly. In the United States, the total lifetime economic burden associated with child abuse and neglect was approximately $125 billion in 2008. This economic burden rivals the cost of other high-profile public health problems such as stroke and type 2 diabetes. What are the consequences? Children who are abused and neglected may suffer immediate physical injuries such as cuts, bruises, or broken bones, as well as emotional, psychological problems such as impaired social, emotional skills, or anxiety. Child abuse and neglect and other adverse childhood experiences can also have tremendous impact on broader lifelong health and well-being outcomes if left untreated. For example, exposure to violence in childhood increases the risk of injury, future violence, victimization, and perpetration. Substance abuse, sexually transmitted infections, delayed brain development, reproductive health problems, involvement in sex trafficking, non-communicable diseases, lower educational attainment, and limited employment opportunities. Chronic abuse is also really big. It may result in toxic stress and make victims more vulnerable to problems such as post-traumatic stress disorder, conduct disorder, and learning attention and memory difficulties. As you see in these flyers, about 1 in 7 children experience child abuse and neglect in the last year. Every 11 minutes, a child suffers abuse or neglect. And this is another pamphlet that was out as well, which it shows the tremendous impact that child abuse and neglect has on future violence, victimizations, and perpetration, and lifelong health and opportunities. So moving on to the policy statements of child abuse and neglect involving the National Association of Social Work, which says social work heals. Social workers play a critical role in child welfare systems nationwide by protecting the well-being of children, youth, and supporting families in need. In fiscal year 2014, an estimated 702,000 children were found to have experienced maltreatment, with children under the age of 1 being the most likely to have been maltreated. One of the children and youth who were abused or neglected, an estimated 147,462 received foster care services. A qualified and stable child welfare workforce is the foundation of child welfare service delivery. Social workers face critical decisions about the lives of these vulnerable children and youth, while working in stressful environments that include high caseloads and workloads, inadequate supervision, safety concerns, and limited training and resources. In conclusion, integrated program services and blend funding streams to achieve the maximum collaboration among various systems, including welfare, domestic violence, substance abuse, mental health, and public health. Building onto that, what can be done is the building of programs that serve children and families, such as a temporary assistance for needy families, maternal and child health block grant, Indian Health Services, and Early Head Start, to offer a variety of child maltreatment prevention services. Those would only be a few things that could build on to these programs that are already being in use today to stop child abuse and neglect and lower the high rate of children that are being abused every day here in the United States.